Welcome back, guys, and today I'm going to be doing part 2 of my car canopy walk around. In the last video I did pretty much the whole car minus the canopy, and today I'm just going to be doing this canopy setup in depth and hopefully might be able to give you some ideas. So this is an 850mm wide canopy. I can't remember the height off the top of my head. I think it's around 900. Basically, it's the only canopy I could get off the shelf in the time when the tray was getting built. Because the tray got made around the canopy, I basically had 3 days to find this thing and pick it up. This was available off the shelf in Bayswater here in Perth, so the build quality is okay. Canopy itself set me back about $1,600. Since getting the canopy, I have basically taken it off, flipped the underside and siliconed all the joins because I did see some rust coming through from underneath. The floor isn't dead flush all the way along. It has a bracing all the way around and then a small gap, so when you bolt it down it does kind of pull down on the floor, which you've got to be careful about, so I use some large washers for that. A few things about the canopy that I'm not huge on. The way they've done the door seal here, so the pinch weld runs around and just kind of joins here. Now it might be okay, I don't know of a better way to do this. I probably have the join on top, but I just find working on the car, the hopping in and out, or even sometimes just having the door open and you're kind of getting stuff out of the fridge, that this seal wants to fall off. Okay, so I'll start on this side here. Basically what I did first is I'll put some photos up now of how I did this floor. Basically it's just a false floor frame underneath with some 17mm marine ply carpeted on top. First up the back here, we've got a 150 amp hour battery from Lithium Battery Wholesalers. What I've done here is cut the floor out around the battery so that this sits recessed, I think it's about 60mm down inside the floor. Then just a strap over the top with these little tie down points, and now that battery is fully secure. It's not going to move in any direction and it's not going to bounce up with the strap. So really glad with my choice of battery here, being a lithium. I had two 100 amp hour AGMs that I got second hand before. They weighed about 35 kilos each, took up a lot of room, and yeah, everything's basically been better since upgrading. So this weighs 14.8 kilos, I believe, and is just going to outperform those two AGMs like second to none. So got a little positive bus bar on top here, and then the earth cable feeds up to the shunt. So we've just got a eBay rip-off of the Renogy battery monitor here. Having a good look at the 12 volt there, so we've got the intervolt DC-DC up the top left. Everything feeds the negative bus bar there that then runs through the shunt. This was all made by me, just some scrap copper I had laying in the shed along with a few cable ties and stuff like that. Tried to make it look a little neater. So I do need to get a cover for the positive term bus bar here, but other than that, she's nearly done. Projector inverter I got from the auctions for about $80. Next up, we've got the Milwaukee charger, which is just constantly plugged into the inverter there. Got these stealth mounts that store two batteries for your Milwaukee gear, so that way I can keep three of my batteries here ready to go at all times. Next up, I've just got this little Ryobi tech bit kit. I've screwed into the headboard, so I've got a few tech bits and Phillips bits, etc., which is all stuff I've used for the screws on this canopy, so I've got easy access if I ever need to adjust anything in here. Lastly, just the lighter on Velcro. Nice little hack there so that the lighter's always available when you need one. And only recently just put this in the other day is a new TJM single compressor. These are about $3.99 new. They come with a full wiring harness, but it's basically to set up for front and rear lockers as well. So if you just want to run it off a switch like I have here, I've used their relay, but I've had to buy my own switch and kind of basically cut the whole loom up a little bit. But just to be able to have it on a switch like that when you want to inflate your tires is it's super handy. Next up in the middle there, we've got the collapsible sink, so when you're doing the dishes. We've got the Hyperflame 2 here, gas cooker from Coleman. Just had to make sure of that. This thing's pretty awesome. It does have this new technology where it deflects wind, so I have used it before on the beach where it was super windy, and compared to an old gas cooker that I had, it is a big difference. It's obviously not the same as some of the new like induction cooktops and stuff, but if you want to keep to a gas cooker, I do recommend one of these. With this canopy, it does have this internal bracing all the way along and down each side here, so there's three, one on each side and then one in the middle. M6 tapped holes all the way along, which is how I've mounted this main 12 volt board. This has been super handy because like just to be able to get an M6 bolt or these tie down points here that are also threaded and use that to hold anything on the walls is just made life a lot easier. So as you can see by that one, just a bit of plywood with 2 bolts, top and bottom. So for lighting, we've just gone with the hardcore 4-bar light setup. This has a dimmer for this side, or control over the other side. Has a dimmer for this side, and then the RGB bug light option for the other side when you're getting pestered by mosquitoes. Just down the side here, we've got a little axe, which we've used a few magnets, and again some Velcro, just to hold that on so it doesn't bounce around too much. Another magnetic strip here, so that'll be where my handsaw goes when we're traveling for, you know, chopping up wood for campfires, etc. Lastly, on this side, we've got the XTM single drawer. It was either this or a King's drawer. I just like the XTM. It looks better. I think the quality probably is a little bit nicer than King's. I've tried to avoid using anything King's now on my car, simply because I've just had too much of it fail, and a poor man pays twice. So originally I had 2 of these high, and I'm not very tall. As you can see, to get to the second drawer, I would have been basically on a milk crate or something like that, which isn't practical when you're in the bush. So just having a single drawer here, I've managed to pretty much load everything I need in here. It is a bit messy at the moment, I've just come back from a trip, but got the shower set up, got a few lights, the jump start pack. I mean, I do have the King's jump starter pack, which let's just hope that doesn't fail either. Brush, tape, all tie downs. We've got the inflator, just pretty much anything you need for off-road, and a bit of camping stuff there. That'll be reorganized for the big trip, but for now, does the job. And with the second drawer gone, it leaves a lot of space here for extra storage as well. Basically, this is the kitchen side of the car, and where the electronics is all controlled, etc. So first up, you got the XTM control box. I got this because this was purchased at the start of the setup when I was still learning basically everything about 12 volt. Since purchasing this, I've learned a lot more, and if I did it again, I would basically just build everything flush into this back piece. I'd take it off and cut in for all the switches and stuff, because this thing is quite bulky, as you can see, but for the price, it is very practical. It comes pre-fused, pre-wired, and it does make life a lot easier if you're trying to do things on a budget. So up there, we've got the Renogy battery rip-off monitor for the shunt. So handy bit of kit there. Up here, we've got a portable power bank, which is just used for lights in the rooftop tent, so that can stay there, so it can stay charged all the time. On the control panel here, we've just got 3 switches wired up. So we've got lights, the hardcore lights here, which have the RGB option. I don't know if you can see that during the day. And then the dimmer here for the other side. So the switch here is for the steady deck lights on the back. Again, probably can't see them because it's middle of the day, but they do their thing. And then lastly is the water pump for underneath. So if I turn that on, that'll just give me pressure out of either of those lines there. Next up, we've got the Bushman 85 litre fridge. So originally I was going with a chest fridge and looking at drop down slides and stuff like that. And then I come across this. I never actually planned on getting a stand up fridge, mainly because I didn't know much about them. But after looking into it, there wasn't much else that actually fit in this size canopy. If I was to use a fridge slide and a drawer fridge, there would be nothing else on this side. It would take up the whole side pretty much. So as you can see, it fits by about 10 mil clearance on the top. And to mount it, I've basically reversed the 2 mounts that come with it to bolt together, and then use the strip in the canopy to bolt it all down. Then I've just cut one off and used one little tab up there and tapped it into the back, so that it can't bounce around on this side either. So I rate this fridge highly. The only thing would probably be a little bit bigger of a freezer, but it's not the end of the world. Next up is my custom made pantry drawer. So I wanted a drawer here for all my cooking stuff, and I planned originally to have a table off this too, but just didn't have enough space. So I fabricated this out of 20 by 20 RHS. I've enclosed it with some leftover Colorbond that was in the shed, so it's definitely not the neatest job, but it does enclose it and holds it all together. This is the 12 volt Travel Buddy here, the Australian made one. So I've chopped that original lead off and stuck an Anderson plug on it. This thing is awesome for cooking anything at camp that you'd normally cook in a house oven. The problem with this is it takes like 45 minutes to an hour to heat up, so you can expect to just delay everything you want to eat a little bit longer than at home, but you still get that luxury in the middle of the bush. Here is just a little drawer, a little pantry with some magnets to hold this door shut. So this will just be bowls, cups, tea towels, oven trays, saucepans. There's a bit of alfoil and cling wrap in there, garbage bags. So a mini pantry. All food will go in the back seat there in another setup that I've got for when I go away. But this just holds everything cooking related close and keep it nice and neat. So, and it's just making use of the space that I have. Also have a chopping board that happens to fit nearly perfect underneath. So, and on the end here is a paper towel holder that I made out of a leftover, I think it's an oil pickup from a V12 Cat. So just bent the mount up, bolted that through, paper towel lives on there, and a couple of like little mounts here for the fridge so that it can't bounce out, and tabs on the front here so that stays in place. As for table space, when setting this up, so we've got a Dun & Watson pre-cut alley table here, and then we've just bolted 2 of the brackets down here. So that's basically for doing prep for big meals. If you're just making lunch, or you were cooking a big, like doing up a big dinner, then I will use this table as well. So I just have this little tool. It's just a 10mm socket welded to an Allen key. So if you're setting up lunch or something like that, you can just put this table down. Otherwise, I'd use this for my gas cooker, and then this table here for prep. All it is like 2 bits of C-channel each side, 2 sheets of stainless sitting on top of each other, and then slide one out like this, undo this bolt completely, and that's my second table. It's a fair bit of table space, so then you just tighten these 2 bolts down, and then this thing's like solid as. It's enough to fit the gas cooker and a few veggies and stuff, and then you do your chop and prep there. I didn't really know what to do for a table space here, as I was so short on canopy space. There was a lot of ideas that I had, but to be able to just make it as part of the tray side, and I mean, for like 30 seconds you've got yourself a table ready for lunch. It is nice and easy. That's the canopy set up for now. I've got a few little things to add to it before I leave, but overall that's pretty much it. I'll probably do another video just before I leave of everything in the car loaded up on the last day or something like that. So stay tuned for that. Give a subscribe and a like, and yeah, thanks a lot for watching.